Tonight, a horrifying scene on a downtown Kingston street. A knife-wielding man attacks pedestrians.
I saw this one guy just stabbing somebody. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Police arrive. Shots are fired.
From Global Kingston, this is CKWS News at 6.
Good evening. 2 people are dead after a horrifying attack in downtown Kingston this afternoon. Witnesses telling Global News that a man with a knife stabbed 2 pedestrians on the sidewalk and was then shot at by police.
We still can't confirm who died in the stabbing spree. It happened on a busy street corner at Queen and Bagot Streets. Let's go live to Craig Krause at the scene with the latest. Craig.
Thanks. So the attack happened in just seconds, leaving 2 bleeding near the intersection behind me here in downtown Kingston. And just a warning before we play this next video, some of the video is quite graphic. Horror and chaos on a downtown Kingston street in the mid-afternoon. Witnesses say a man attacked 2 people with what appeared to be a large knife. Disturbing video of the brutal attack captured on a cell phone camera.
I saw this one guy just stabbing somebody over there, and I was like, what the hell's going on, right? So he looked at me, and then he grabbed somebody else.
As several police cruisers arrived at the scene, the video shows one officer confronting the knife-wielding suspect, ordering him several times to get down on the ground, and then shots fired.
Yeah, a few shots went off. I didn't see any of that though, like I just heard this going on.
Witnesses say even after the suspect was shot, he resumed the stabbing spree on himself.
And then he stopped by himself on the night.
Pedestrians watched the dramatic takedown. Paramedics worked to save the stabbing victims on the sidewalk before they were taken to hospital.
It was so fast. Like we showed up and it was like, what was going on? And then it was all done.
Police cordoned off several blocks in the downtown, keeping pedestrians and traffic well back from the crime scene. Street closures to stay in place for several hours.
This felt pretty shaken because this happens like in big cities or in the United States, but not in Kingston. Not in Kingston, I didn't think anyways. So, well, I don't know. That's pretty scary.
Yes, Craig, certainly shocking attack. What more do we know about the suspect or even a possible motive?
At this time, we do not know the identity of the suspect. And as for a motive, Bill, again, we're not entirely sure at this time. It's a random attack.
And Craig, what are police saying about this?
Well, police have said that, a police source has said that 2 people are dead, but other than that, they aren't really releasing any more information. The Special Investigations Unit has taken over the investigation.
Okay, Craig Krause reporting live. Thank you, Craig. We'll check in with you a little bit later.
Thanks.
This afternoon's sidewalk stabbing happened in front of horrified pedestrians. One of them tells Global News what he saw just before 2 o'clock. And again, we want to warn viewers that this video contains graphic content.
I saw this one guy just stabbing somebody over there, and I was like, what the hell's going on, right? So I went to investigate the situation. And I was like, please, just stop. And I told somebody to call the police, and I guess everybody was on the phone calling the police. And he looked at me, and then he grabbed somebody else, which was, I think it was an old man. And I was like, no, please, just don't, man, just don't. And he begins just slicing this old guy up. And after that, a cop came, and they had an altercation where he was running with the cop with a knife, and the cop, he fired a couple of shots, but after that, I believe that he stabbed himself a couple of times in the jugular, and he was telling the cops to shoot him, and they just kept on stabbing.
The victims were rushed to Kingston General Hospital.
Let's head there live now. Jonna Semple is standing by with an update. Jonna.
Shauna, hospital officials are still staying pretty tight-lipped about the incident, stating that it's a police matter that's still under investigation. We do know that patients were brought to the emergency room at KGH and that the hospital declared a code orange to help staff prepare. In a statement from the hospital released this afternoon, it said, approximately 2 p.m. on Thursday, September 12th, Kingston Health Sciences Center entered stage 1 of its external disaster plan known as Code Orange. This is a preliminary stage that is called in order to assess Kingston Health Sciences Center potential involvement in a disastrous situation. Upon assessing the situation, no further stages of Code Orange needed to be activated. Now, I spoke to a man earlier this afternoon who was visiting a friend here at the hospital, and he said that he was turned away from the emergency room while they were called the Code Orange. Now, as you mentioned, police have confirmed 2 people are dead. There were 3 people with injuries at the scene. The third person's injuries or the extent of their injuries is still unknown at this time. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonna, for the latest on this, and we will have more on this developing story coming up a little later.
You're watching CKWS News at 6 on Global Kingston.
Let's get back to our top story tonight, a horrifying attack on a downtown Kingston street, and we have new video footage of the dramatic events as they unfolded. We know a knife-wielding man attacked 2 pedestrians. Police confronted the attacker. Shots were fired. Let's bring in Craig Krause live from Queen Street to give us more of a summary of what happened, Craig.
Again, Bill, at this time, what we do know is that around 2 o'clock this afternoon, there was a violent attack in the downtown area between Queen and Bagot Street. And what I'm being told by several witnesses is that a man approached another man and stabbed him. That's what we're hearing at this time with a large knife. There was an altercation. We're not entirely sure what's happening. Witnesses do have a consistent story, but what police are telling us at this time, or a police source that is that 2 people have been confirmed dead. But again, this is an investigation under the Special Investigation Unit, and we're not given any answers quite yet of who the suspect was or the victims.
Yes, right, Craig. We know that that 2 people died, and again, we don't know who those people are. We were just looking at some new video there taken from a rooftop of police confronting the attacker, telling him to get down on the ground, get down on the ground. That didn't happen. We know shots were fired, as you mentioned, because of those shots being fired and injuries. The province's Special Investigations Unit has now been called in, and Kingston police are basically tight-lipped because of that. Craig, pedestrians understandably shocked by what they saw. This was a busy intersection in the downtown, especially at this time of day. And we know that grief counseling has been offered to people who witnessed this horrifying event. What did some of the witnesses tell you?
Well, I was downtown for the majority of the afternoon. Countless people came up to me and one of our assistants here, Taz Dollywall, and they were explaining to us that they're shocked that this would happen in a community like Kingston. But again, this afternoon at around 2 o'clock, it did happen, and sources telling us that 2 people have been confirmed dead. Addiction and Mental Health Services, though, did reach out to Global News later in the evening around 5 o'clock, saying that their crisis line will be open for the next 24 hours for anyone who feels distress during this time after today's events. So that'll be open for the next 24 hours for anyone who has any concerns.
That's right, and we should also point out too that we do have, Global News has chosen not to air certain portions of video that we have obtained, and because it is just too graphic. So Craig, we want to thank you for your coverage. This is a developing story. Please go to globalnews.ca/Kingston. We have complete coverage online of this story, and Craig will look for more updates from you later on this evening at CKWS News at 11. Thanks again.
Thanks, Bill.
Craig Krause reporting live in downtown Kingston.